ready for you. And also, we're working on developing our externship program. We give you a conduct training and then help you out. They can also do, students can also do an externship for academic credit. We'll just go through some of the things that we have. Do you all have any questions? You said my name.
Well, Singletary and
Okay, I was gonna say, that's what my question was, the same person?
yeah, there's a little change going on there, so Singletary.
I do use his first name, Singletary. My mind got named after. Any other questions?
Mr. Denny, I just wanted to say thank you so much for letting us use the facility. We appreciate the collaboration.
Thank you very much. I'll let y'all get to talk.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, one last thing. Did everybody tell you where the facilities and everything were? You know, across the passageway, in the back corner. I say the heads, have a community, I'm not going to get that up anytime soon. And then also be at the back door.
Good deal. Thank you.
Sure.
Professor Petraeus, do you have anything you'd like to, any housekeeping rules, anything you want to go over?
Particular. But did everybody take a tour of the campus and look around and everything? Well, we can possibly do it break time or during that.
Yes, maybe during break time.
I'm more than happy to show you around.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you here today at our very first grassroots business seminar. And this is going to be a very good seminar today. We have speakers coming in from Professor Petraeus that you just met, as well as Delmar Johnson, who's getting ready to speak with us. And then we have Sridhar Sankara, as well as Coach Robert Staub coming in. And I will be doing some speaking today. So we're covering a lot of topics from human resources to career branding university to financial planning, business financial planning, to strategic technology and business modeling, to business coaching, to leadership effectiveness, and to social media marketing. So you're going to have a lot to take home with you today. You will not be sorry you came. A lot of information is going to go forth, and we are so happy to have you here. I would like to introduce a lady that's been with us since before our very first event. I actually met her in another venue, and she has seen Business Over Coffee International grow from 8 people to close to 1,000. I believe we're exactly at 947 right now in membership. And we are an online community, so sometimes you don't see all of those people. They're online. We have online members, and then we have members that like to attend events. We have members that are elsewhere. We have a New Jersey chapter, Nashville chapter, Atlanta chapter, VOC after hours chapter, and so forth. And you can see all of this information, or at least a basic overview, in the brochure that's in front of you, which gives you all the information as to a snapshot of who we are, what we do, and where we're going. So we're very excited to say that we are launching our very first grassroots seminar with Ms. Delmar Johnson being our first speaker on human resources. Her business is HR Brain for Hire. She works directly with VOCI as a founding member with our externship program, which is also associated here with National College of Business and Technology. So I personally give her an incredible referral that she is fabulous at what she does. So if you need someone, which I'm sure you do, if you don't now, you will, need someone to help you with human resources or career branding university, she is the lady to call. HRBrainforHire.com, Delmar Johnson. Let's welcome her.
How are y'all this morning? I'm going to take the time to read this podium because I have something I'm going to sit up in front of you. If you guys don't mind. it's kind of colorful.
Okay. Good deal.
So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We appreciate you coming in. We said even if just a couple of people showed up, we were going to give our best anyway. Okay. So I'm here to speak with you a little bit about how human resources plays into the small business owner umbrella. A lot of small business owners may think that it's like, I'm just starting out, or my business hasn't grown that much yet. It's like, what would I need with human resources? Well, I tell small business owners all the time, if you're thinking about having employees, if you have at least one employee, a contractor or an intern, you need to be a telephone call away from an HR source or an HR resource. So you may just need to pick up the phone and just ask a couple of questions that you may not be familiar with how to answer that question, but it's human resources related. So it's always good to start off at the beginning in your business to start thinking about what all pieces play into growing a small business, okay? And human resources is one of them. So small business owners, when they start their business, they spend a great deal of time, molding and shaping what their organization is going to do and how to retain focus about their key business goals and everything. So obviously, small business owners have a whole lot on their mind in the beginning, and it's usually capturing customers, beating the competition. First of all, they want to beat the competition. They want to know how to play on the field like the big boys. And now, because of technology and social media and all this kind of stuff that Sherry's going to get into later, you can actually begin to play on the same field as a larger organization. They say that in this economic time, that small businesses are driving, is the driving force, I should say, behind, the economy turning around. It's the small business owner, not necessarily, the Fortune 500 or the Fortune 1000, because they're always going to be there. Basically, they're always going to be there, but there's been more small businesses that have popped up over the last few years that we've been in this economy than ever before, according to statistics, the recent stuff that you see. So you're looking at beating the competition, you're looking at finding customers, you're looking at retaining the customers you may have already acquired or may put in your pipeline while you were thinking about your business idea or putting it on paper and actually putting it out there for everybody to see. And then, of course, boosting your bottom line. It's like, what's the point of being in business if you're not trying to make money? That's the cornerstone behind business. But in looking at the bottom line, you also have to build relationships with the support team with the team that will eventually support you. Again, part of that is human resources. So those are some of the things that small businesses look for right up front. So, but unlike their large counterparts, they lack the kind of time or resources that they need to build the infrastructure. And HR will eventually be part of your infrastructure that you need to build, because another purpose of your business is that you want it to be successful and you want it to grow. You want it to grow beyond yourself. The solopreneurs, a lot of us out there, the solopreneur, you may have like one business associate that you partner with or collaborating with or whatever, but a lot of us are starting out as solopreneurs, but we want our businesses to grow beyond ourselves. So the hats, my clipper's working. The hats of small business, what does it look like? Now, according to the Small Business Administration, the average small business owner will spend 20 to 40% of their time in building out of their infrastructure. And of course, all of this actually falls under the HR umbrella. We've got the compensation and benefits. What are you going to pay people? How are you going to figure out what to pay them? And then if you get to the point where you're really in a position to add benefits, you say, okay, now what am I going to do there? How do I even get there? Then you have the HR management side of things. That's developing the policies, developing the procedures, developing the budget behind that. And you also have the labor relations, which is defined as part of employee relations. You have your discrimination, you have harassment, different things that fall under that umbrella. And then you also have staffing. Where are you going to find the people that you need? Do you really have the time to look for that internal, look for that 1099 contract, or actually look for your real first-time on-payroll employee? And then, do you have time to train them at all? What do you have in place for that? So those are the many hats. And of course, that's just the HR side of the hats that a small business will wear. Okay, a small business obviously, wears many, many hats, but that's just the HR side of things. So can you imagine if that many hats are having to be worn just on the HR side of things, you know, just how many more hats are you gonna have to do with the marketing and the social media and the networking and all this other kind of stuff you're trying to do to build your pipeline with clients. So learning on the job, they say, is a scary prospect, you know, to have to give the constant presence and oversight of a regulatory agency. So now you have to think about what does the IRS think about what you're doing. I always tell small business owners that it's a fine line, a very fine line between 1099 contractors and employees. I was just speaking with someone just the other day that's a part of this group that they're launching their store, and he called me. He was thinking I was the accounting person. I said, no, I'm not the accounting person, that's Tracy Pruitt. I'm the HR person in BOCI. And he was calling his contractors that he's gonna be bringing on as employees. And I said, you know, most people just get in that habit of calling employees, but I told him, I said, you know what, be very careful even calling your contractors employees out loud. Now, he was just talking to me, so it's not gonna go anywhere. But it's like, be careful even talking about saying the word employees when your initial support team may be 1099 contractors. Now, you may wind up converting them to employees as you get bigger and your budget gets bigger to have them on payroll. That's another thing. So I even told them, be careful of even using the word employees when you're talking to your contractor. Okay? So when should you partner with HR? Now, these are just my suggestions, okay? I think you should partner when you have no time to recruit, you have no time to train, you have no time to follow up, and you have no time for administration. Because a lot of administration goes into building your HR structure and your systems and everything in place. And like I said, we go back to the 4 objectives that a small business owner has is, you know, beating the competition, building the pipeline with potential clients, keeping the current ones that you may already have, and then obviously building your revenue. Those are usually at the top of your mind, not this part. So just my suggestion, this is just a few suggestions. There's other reasons why you would want to partner with HR, but those are usually the ones right in front. Because when small businesses are in position to bring on somebody, these are usually things that fall right in line. So, you know, I really don't have time to look for anybody. I talk to business owners now. It's kind of like, will inquire about HR brain to hire. And they're like, you know, Delmar, I get back in touch with you because I just don't have time. But that's the reason why you're talking to me. You know, let's have a 30-minute consultation and let me kind of pull everything out of your head real quick to see what you need, and then we can go further from there. You know, and that's the beauty of email. That's the beauty of texting. I mean, texting is a part of our world now. You know, I'm texting every day, all day. You know, so that's a part of our world now. So Sherry's gonna talk more about that too. That's part of social media. So cost effectiveness is typically the top reason why small companies do outsource to HR. So how does HR brain for hire play a part in what the small business owner needs to move into? So I just wanted to talk a little bit about, okay, what is HR brain for hire? You know, what is it all about? Well, it's a boutique professional service company offering consultative and hands-on solutions to small and up to mid-sized businesses in the areas of, again, recruitment, compliance, administration, and internship program development. I'm actually not going to really talk about the internship side of things, but that really is, just to touch bases on it for just a moment. Interns are typically the most cost-effective way for a small business owner to build their support team. Okay, that's typically the most cost-effective way. And because of our time constraints, they can't go into real detail about that, but you can always call me and talk to me about that, and I'm happy to give a free consultation on that. What's the mission of HR Brain for Hire? Well, it's to provide value-added HR solutions to the small business owner and strategic guidance to the career seeker. Because on the career seeker side, you want them to be trained before they even put in an application to be an employee free. So that kind of goes hand in hand. I'm going to talk about the career seeker side for just a very short amount of time toward the end of this presentation. So it's resulting in positive long-term effects in business and professional development. So my purpose is to really add value to what you're doing, the value that you put out in the community. My mission is to provide value to you, so you can have a better balance in being a small business owner and growing it from there. So there's 2 divisions to HR Brain for Hire and how I support you guys. You got the small business division. Again, it kind of just outlines some of the things that are covered on the HR compliance. That could be I-9s. A lot of small business owners don't understand how to even file their I-9s and how it's supposed to be kept in your office. I-9 audits can, um, can trip up a small business owner when they get started, but they don't know the IRS rules behind that, how an active folder should be separate from the inactive folder, and how the I-9 form should be actually completed and signed off and everything. So there's rules behind that. As simple as that form is, that form can also get you in trouble if it's not completed correctly or filed correctly in your office. Okay? So that's just one thing. And then also identifying what workplace posters that you need. If you have a physical, especially if you have a physical office and you have employees in that office, then there are certain workplace posters that need to be conspicuously outlined or posted on the wall, the back of the doorway, or convenience of a bulletin board, so it can be seen immediately by anybody that walks into your office, especially your employees. Workplace training and development, that could be part of orientation, helping you bring on your new employees and what they need to do, developing your job description, doing your new hire package. Under policies and procedures, that could be developed in an employee handbook. Now, there is no actual law that says that you have to have an employee handbook, but a wise business owner does. Okay? There's no law that says, oh, you got to have this handbook, you know, the 72 hours when you hire somebody. So there's actually no law governing that. However, a smart business has an employee handbook, you know, and has revisions on it periodically. Because something's always changing in laws or whatever that needs to be incorporated in that handbook. So that's why a lot of times you in corporate America, you see like there's always a revision date on the employee handbook. That means something has come in new or whatever, and they needed to change that and update. So that's why it's always a revision date on one. Then the HR administration, obviously, I can actually help you set up your office. You know, if that needs to be, or I can be a virtual administration person for you, getting what the paperwork and stuff that you need in place to start that. And the second division is actually career readiness, and that's the career branding university, a career mind shift experience. And that really is about career readiness training. And I kind of played off the name of the university, and I have a partner, and a business associate partner in Atlanta that's doing it in Atlanta. We decided to join forces and, you know, two heads are better than one kind of thing, and put this together. We just actually started introducing it. She's already doing it in Atlanta, and I'm trying to get it out here in the community in Memphis, and looking for different other schools that I can partner with or organizations that I can partner with to actually train young professionals and professional adults that's going through career transition. So I'm going to touch on that just a little bit. I really want to focus on HR today. So who do we have? We have small businesses who want help establishing their staff and HR systems as a result of their growth in size and revenue. Again, we go back to your small business wanting to grow, the revenue wants to get bigger, and as that goes, and as that becomes a part of your business model, your size, you're getting bigger in size, you're getting bigger in revenue, then that means an infrastructure needs to start being put in place for that, because eventually you're going to have employees. So how do we help your business? We help you navigate effective HR management tactics that establish a strong employee relations. That's key. Employee relations can be a boogeyman. So you definitely want to try to set it up as your infrastructure as really as possible as you begin to bring on employees, because it's very interesting when you have employees. It can be tricky waters, but it definitely obviously is you can navigate those waters. We have to become more productive through a strategic internship program. Again, that's one of the most cost-effective ways for a small business owner to grow and build their support team. And then we just help you delegate those things you don't necessarily or would prefer not to do, especially on the administration side of things. And then what's the cost benefit to you? Well, you know, when you outsource, and that means you're not necessarily having liability for an employee. Okay, you don't have to pay benefits. You don't have to worry about workers' comp. You don't have to worry about having a publicized budget to have an HR department. You don't have to worry about training or equipment, because an outsourced individual or even a PEO, a professional employee organization, obviously that's a much larger entity. But they have, we have our own equipment, our point in time, depending on what level you are in your business. Any questions so far?
Good information. The I-9 is actually for if you have paid employees, right? That
Yeah, if
is
you have paid
fine.
employees and it shows that you are eligible to work in the United States. Okay?
Only if you have paid employees.
If you
Like,
have
for
paid-
instance, if you're a sole proprietorship and you're the only person, you don't have to have that in your office.
Right, yeah, it's only when you become a sole proprietor that's, like say, you're growing in size.
Yes.
And you see you're so overwhelmed that you need help, and your budget or your revenue at the time may justify you bringing on a part-time
Right,
employee.
right.
And just bypass a contractor and an intern, which is wonderful.
Right.
Most small businesses can go like that. Like, hey, you're in a good lane if
Right,
you really
right.
have part-time employees already.
That's
But
right.
yeah, if the person is going to be a regular payroll employee, it's important to have an I-9 on file and show their eligibility of actually being able to work in the United States.
Now, if they're 1099, we're not responsible for that, right?
Right, they need to make sure that they fill out, I'm sorry,
Doesn't matter.
yeah, the thank you, so the form number skipped my mind. The W-9, so when you actually send that, they'll understand that they were a contractor for your business, but the 1099 and them paying their own taxes and everything is their responsibility.
But I mean, as far as the proof that they're legal to work in the US.
Yes, exactly, a 1099 does not have to do an I-9. Yeah. Any other questions? And I'm just gonna touch on, I'm just introducing Career Branding University, because in the long scheme of things, it actually will affect the small business owner. Because my goal was, to bring to the community me and my partner called a career mindset experience, learning how to think like an employee. Because you being a small business owner will eventually be an employee, and when you love to have someone that's come into your establishment that's prepared to basically sell themselves to you, and do it effectively. And that's really the mission behind career branding. So there's a workshop that's been designed to offer participants improved methods of finding and maintaining employment while learning to think like an employer. Because a lot of times, most of us that have been employees, been in corporate America or whatever kind of job that you have, you're always thinking from the employee perspective. Because an employee may not necessarily come to you and tell you what they're thinking. My partner put out on Facebook the other day that, and I told her I was gonna steal her idea since we're partners, put out yesterday, a nugget about Career Branding University and how to think like an employee. And the nugget that she put out is like, if an employee comes to you and asks you, how's your job going? How's everything going? You don't go into complaint mode. Okay, you go, it is the best thing since sliced bread. I love it, it's wonderful, and you could be saying something else in the back of your mind, but please don't let that in the back of your mind transition through your mouth.
Right.
Okay? Because when an employee may come to you and be asking you questions about, how's it going, somebody's going to be making some changes. If they're talking about changes in their language, they're trying to figure out how you're going to fit into those changes as they ask you those questions. So if you come to them and say, oh, my job, it's really lousy. I mean, you guys are not doing enough for me and all this kind of stuff. Immediately, it's going to trigger them to say, you know what, we need to put them in the whole file right now and see if we're going to transition them over into this change. So I thought that was a great nugget she put out there. I said, I'm stealing that.
That's great.
So, but yeah, that's just a nugget to start thinking like an employee. And we want, as I help small business owners build their infrastructure, I want to keep in mind the kind of people that I would send your way if you come to me looking for an employee or an intern. It's like this, hey, they've gone through Career Branding University. They're kind of set up to come in there and really sell themselves and have an effective interview. They put out their resume, they have sold them to get them in the door, because that's the purpose of a resume, to actually get you in the door, get a telephone call. That's the purpose of it. So our mission is, like I said, to equip, prepare, and empower youth and professionals becoming a potential employee. And that's why I said I've only touching on this and just introducing it to you as a small business owner, that you know where my mindset is to prepare long term for businesses who are going to be looking for employees.
Now, I have a question.
Thank you. Say that again, Mr.
It
Reed.
should.
That should be a required
It should be a
course for
required
everybody
course.
looking for a job, because
It should
It
be a
should.
required, and that is, you know what, that's one of my goals, Mrs. Reed, to get out of the community. It's like, listen, it's me, you know, and I, you know, came up with this idea actually in 2011 to do it. I brought my partner in just recently. It's like, there's a need, I see the need, I've gotten feedback that say, you know what, you're not the first person to read that said, Delmar, this should be a required course. So I'm glad you put that out in the atmosphere, because I want it to be a required course. You know, at the end, you know, if a person's an upperclassman, you know, especially if they're in a 4-year university, but if they're in a career college setting, you know, it's usually about an 18-month program, so you can kind of get right in with them, because they, you know, their program kind of comes to go pretty quickly in a career college, and maybe 24 months is maybe the longest curriculum that a career college have. They can already be preparing for that.
Right.
So, yeah, I want it to be a required course. I really do. I really do. So, I'm glad you said that.
One other thing is when someone already has an employee, and maybe they're having difficulties with that employee.
Exactly.
This would be a good session for them to contact you and say, we would like to invest, we believe this person has potential.
Yes.
And we would like to invest time and money into putting them through this.
Exactly. Exactly. So it can go in several different ways.
does that have a legal ramification if an employer sends the employee to remedial training?
Well, you know what? Actually, what it would be more like us coming into the organization and doing a session for their current employees. So not
You
necessarily.
would do it for all the employees, not sort out one.
Exactly, exactly. If they want to kind of do like some career refresher, or, you know, talk on a specific topic, if there's a group of employees that may want to learn how to transition and position themselves to be managers or supervisors, they would actually ask us to come into the organization. We wouldn't just target, you know, I would hate for the employer to target one person. Oh, we're just going to send you, like I said, to review. No, we would come to you and do a full session for a group of employees that you're grooming to go to another level. They can look at it from that way. Well, it depends on how the employer. No, it depends on how the employer looks at it, because the initial point of career branding is to train the ones that are about to go into corporate America. Okay? Right, the ones that are motivated, the college student that's coming out in their senior year, they need to be prepared to present themselves to an employer, because they're becoming, you know, first-time corporate young professionals, particularly will be leaders in that organization. Or if you have professionals right now who are in career transition, you know, so those are like our two biggest target markets right there. Eventually, we would move into organizations that want some specific topics just to be taught to their employees. You know, they're already there, they just need a refresher or something. So it wouldn't necessarily bring up employee discrimination, but they're doing it as an organization-wide, offering it to the organization, like whoever wants to come, you know, there's going to be on such and such date, they're bringing, and these are the topics we're going to be talking about, and the employees sign up. So it wouldn't present any employee discrimination from that point of view, from the organization. Good question.
But if you did it the way you just said at the end, the employee that you need to go to, if you want to didn't go, you almost have to have it mandatory. If you made it voluntary, just my experience in business, you make it voluntary, the ones that need the improvement don't go.
Exactly. And you know, and like I said, they're a lot of companies, especially larger companies, have some kind of training program or have some kind of career path that an employee is going to go on. And if they are going through a program, and this is just me thinking out loud, if they're going through a program where they've targeted, you know, they've already done prerequisites and targeted 10 employees or 20 employees they're going to want to take through this training because they have a succession plan going on. Okay, we've targeted these 10 employees. We've already outlined the criteria within our own organization of who we're going to send through there. You know, so it has nothing to do with us. That's an employer making that decision. So they have their own ground rules, their own, you know, steps. It's okay, these are the 10 employees that have met our criteria that we put in place. to help them get to the next level, and we want them to go through certain kind of training. We're gonna bring these people in to talk about that. So that has nothing to do with that.
And I would love to be in that position if I was gonna be an employee.
Yeah, yeah, so you know, so
See,
that.
that has nothing to do with you, but can you give, and I'm not in a position to do this now, but if I am, can you give advice on how to, because what you said, you have to be careful when you start selecting a group.
Right.
Unless you're small enough, you can send all your employees.
Exactly,
You can send-
exactly.
So that, can your company help, or people like you, can they help an employer figure out, okay, this is how I can do this? Or
Most definitely, employees bring in consultants all the time, it's like, this is our idea, you know,
How to
this,
do this.
and this is how we, but if you're a small company, say you got 5 or 10 employees, just send all
Send
your
them all.
employees through it. You know, just send them
Then you
all
don't have to
through
worry
it.
about
Exactly, there's nothing to worry about then, but if you're a larger company, then yes, larger companies always bring consultants in to consult on how to do a program. You know, and bring the professionals in there and kind of guide them through, okay, well, we don't wanna, you know, discriminate against anybody, we're putting it out there, these are